So the other subjects were hashkafa a lot, how to be a good wife, how to be a good Jewish girl, tznius, and a strong emphasis on how to behave and how to live your life.
Did you ever get a high school diploma?
Yeah, and I got a Yiddish one and an English one, and then I couldn't use it when I applied to school.
You couldn't use your English high school diploma to enter college?
No, because they wouldn't give me my transcripts.
Because the school didn't give you your transcripts?
No.
Did you take any SATs or other exams as
No.
part of your high school?
No.
Was there college prep at all at your high school?
There was anti-college prep. we were told, we had lectures why college is bad and how it ruins your soul. Well, while I was there, I didn't know any better. I knew that there were people that were, my neighbors got a better education than I did. It wasn't perfect, but they went to Beis Yaakov, which did prepare them somewhat. But I felt like they wasted my time while I was there, primarily because they didn't teach me. They didn't teach me as a human being. They taught it because they had to, not because they wanted to. So the teachers would come into class and they would teach, just lecture, and then we had to know it. And that wasn't something that maximized the potential. They didn't teach it for learning's sake. So I went to a GED program to get my GED, and there were a lot of kids that were in the public school system and then dropped out for one reason or another. These were my classmates, and they by no means finished their high school education, and they all knew what a college education was, or what the periodic table was, for example, and I didn't. When the professor mentioned it, I'm like, well, what's a periodic table? And they looked at me like, you finished 12 years of school, how do you not know this? So I did try to go to Sarah Schneer, and I did ask them, like, what do I have to do to get accepted here? And they said, well, you need your high school transcript. And so I called up my high school, and they said, you don't have a transcript, and either way, we're not giving you anything.
Because we don't want you to go to college?
Exactly. They didn't say those words, but they said, we don't give it out. We don't give that. You can use your diploma for whatever job you need. I remember the professor trying to explain something, and this has nothing to do with education, but it was just knowledge. He walks in one day and he says, what happens when a movie first starts? Like when you watch a movie, do they start with a very passive scene, or do they start with a lot of drama? And I said passive, because I've never watched a movie before, and everyone looks at me like, and he's like, no, you start with drama, like the person's holding a gun or something.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, why? I'll be in my mid-20s when I'm going to graduate with my bachelor's degree. So that's a big thing that I'm angry about, because I definitely, if I go to a regular school, I'd be done with my master's by now. And so it's like, this is a lot of wasted time and a lot of wasted money.
In your classroom in elementary and high school, were there any black students?
No. All students, no.
Were there any Latinos?
No. All the same race.
How about staff, teachers? Were there any black or Latino teachers?
No.
Not even for secular studies?
No. They're all Hasidic. That's a big problem, because then you don't know how to think of the world as a colorful place, as a place that has, well, maybe not colorful, but as a place that has multiple, it's very one-sided, it's not dynamic. You don't get to experience other cultures.
From your experience dealing with men who've graduated yeshiva, how do you feel your experience compares to theirs?
I feel like in some ways they have academic ability, they have the ability to learn, but I feel like they lack the confidence to try. They lack, not a confidence in themselves, just a confidence in the system. But what are they going to do? How are they going to make up for that? They're going to go sit back in a third grade class to start, like how can you even close the gap? They feel like the burden is so big that they don't even try. And if they do try, they get beaten down before they, finally see the light and go to college. I understand how it feels, because I had to jump through a lot of hoops, but my gap was not that big. because I was very persistent and I read all the time, so my English is somewhat decent, but the boys are not allowed to read, and they don't have the exposure, at least the drop to, at least a little bit that the girls have. They don't have that at all, and so they have to make up for so much more.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not angry, just kind of disappointed in them that they disappointed me. I think that if the government finds out what's really going on, and they have Yaffed that's trying to inform them, then they should start digging holes. They should start finding out what's going on and how they can make it change, how they can enforce that kids get educated. I know kids that are homeschooled for religious purposes, and they get 110% of what the kids in the public school get, maybe even more. So there's no excuse. Some of them don't realize, but the ones that do realize, I don't know if they can speak up. What are they going to tell their rabbis? That I feel like my education I don't think they have the words for it at all.
Mm-hmm.
But if they do have the words, they're going to go to who are they going to tell? I was a child and I wanted to learn, and I was denied, straight out. I told everybody that I love learning, I love reading, and it was forbidden for me.
Mm-hmm.
So it was deliberately taken away, and I don't think that's right.
Do you think that a lot of other kids like yourself?
Absolutely. I have 8 siblings that love learning. I know that.